Oahu, Hawaii, a paradise vacation to thousands of visitors. People come to see our beaches and clear skies. But most locals who spend time in town know that Oahu has a dark side.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Kent, and today we're talking about prostitution in Hawaii. Hawaii is known for its luxurious beaches and its interesting culture. But what other people don't understand is that Hawaii at night can be a very scary place to be, especially when you are alone.
Human trafficking is one of the fastest growing criminal industries in the whole wide world. In Hawaii, we've been able to find human trafficking occurring in industries such as the agricultural industry, using laborers. We have, of course, restaurants where they're using dishwashers and cooks. We also have government workers being trafficked, and the sex industry, of course, is in the middle of all of this as well.
Human trafficking is a situation where one person uses another person, oftentimes abuses or manipulates that person into doing something that he or she does not want to do, oftentimes for money.
How long have you lived here in Hawaii?
For 11 months.
Do you visit town or ever worked in town before?
Yeah, I used to work in town, and I also do go, if we go out on the weekends, I'll be in town for a long period during the night.
While being in town, have you ever noticed any escorts or prostitutes?
I for sure have. It's kind of obvious when you see women on each corner of on this Waikiki Strip or on the outlier on that side.
Mm-hmm.
And even being with groups of friends, males, I've had some just simply ask for if they want some pleasure.
With that being said, do you think that is a lifestyle of their choice, or do you think they're held against their will?
From knowing people from experience, even having family members in that situation, most of the time it's usually by will, and just being in that, they have no way to, financially take care of themselves. They could be in a relationship with that person, or they're just in a really bad situation, so usually.
Have you ever heard any incidents on Oahu about any escorts or any kidnappings relating any prostitutes or any such way?
Not so much. It definitely seems on the news, but nothing personally. One of my close friends has gotten in a situation where she's been held against her will in Waikiki. So we never she was able to get away, but being in that situation, you never know what could have happened after that. If that was them bringing them into her to the first step of prostitution or that for trafficking.
Do you ever find yourself personally in a close encounter to a terrible situation regarding pimps or prostitution?
One time in town closer to campus, I was walking home by myself, walking back to one of my friend's house at 3 in the morning, and this guy pulled off and he kept trying to corner me off and was asking why are you dressed like that, why are you out this late. It was just super, didn't need to be in. I thought that was the closest thing to being in that situation.
For those who are held against their will, what do you think HPD should do about it?
I think the first thing they should be doing is helping those good girls in that situation. Them being undercover, I think them being undercover is a good way for them to help them, at least before they try to get them in trouble, or go to the source of the problem, the pimp, not the prostitute, because they know in those situations they're being held against their will. They're in their situation because they need that money, and I think at this point it should just be getting help for the girls.
Mm-hmm. Can you state your name and how long you've been living in Hawaii?
My name is Sonia Kent, and I've lived here for 12 years.
Do you work in town?
Yes.
Have you ever felt unsafe working in town?
Yes, many times.
Do you work at night in town?
Yeah.
Have you gotten any close encounters with a scary situation, like anybody trying to ask you to do things that you didn't want to do, meaning like
Well, I
to
used to
go...
work at a club downtown, and people would, some of the people that would come in there were escorts and pimps and such, and I've had an instance where a pimp was trying to have me come with him to the mainland and be his little thing and pay for everything and things like that. I denied it, but I've had multiple instances where I've encountered pimps and escorts, so I have done. Being around in the club areas, in the environment, really exposes you to that type of culture and those type of people. Such.
Who do you think is to blame for the amount of kidnaps and murders happening in our town?
Gangs. I know there's gangs and pimps and human traffickers, such like that, especially when human trafficking is really big on this island, and dealing with prostitutes and escorts is a big thing in town, and working around that environment is just something familiar.
What do you think needs to be done to help those who are in captivity? For instance, escorts and prostitutes who are held against their will.
I think they need better understanding by authorities. I think authorities need to realize that these are people. They don't have a choice when they're in that environment. Especially when you're at the very lowest point in your life and you don't have any money, you don't have anywhere to go. And people who are like that, human traffickers and pimps and such, they offer and provide for you. And that's usually what gets them sucked in, and they stay.
Girls treated as sexual property, beaten and abused, and now they are pushing back. Good evening. I'm Paula Akana. Yunji Denise has the night off. Sex trafficking has become a huge problem here in Hawaii. KITV4's Lara Yamada joins us with more on a highly critical report and the people trying to combat that problem. Lara.
Well, Paula, nonprofit Shared Hope International recently released its report on child sex trafficking laws, grading all 50 states. And for the second year in a row, Hawaii got a big F. You might be surprised, though. Local advocates not only agree with that grade, but want you to hear from victims who know what that grade means.
I was locked in a house for like 2 weeks, beaten and raped multiple times throughout the day.
Dee Dee was only 16 when a family member recruited her. Then for 4 months, an abusive pimp prostituted her on the streets of Waikiki.
Out on the streets, it's very hard. It felt like forever.
They're broken in. Their families are threatened.
Victims advocate Catherine Jian has been fighting for tougher sex trafficking laws for years. She says a recent report giving Hawaii a failing grade is only fuel for her cause.
It's huge. They have no resources. They have no source of help. They are misidentified.
Every month, up to 600 children live homeless in Hawaii, and 300 kids are reported missing. Our state also has some of the highest rates of incarcerated girls, teen suicide, and incest in the country.
All of those factors contribute to an environment that's rife for child traffickers.
This next legislative session, Jan is focusing on tougher penalties for those soliciting minors for prostitution or paid sex, which right now is a petty misdemeanor.
It's the equivalent of staying over hours in a park.
I care about the girls that are out there because I know that it's not something anybody wants to go through.
Dee Dee says she's safe at home now and hoping for tougher laws too, knowing victims are still out there.
Now that we know what really goes on in prostitution, you know, the education and the awareness is changing.
I just want the girls to know, and everybody else out there to know, that this needs to be stopped.